Bladesmiths, welcome to the great outdoors. I know you probably weren't expecting this setting. Forging indoors with propane forges and proper lighting is a tough task. It's even tougher to do it outdoors with old school hand crank blowers. That means you have to start and maintain your heat throughout this entire round of competition with a little elbow grease. Additionally, we're gonna make it even more difficult by having you forge your blades using this. Gentlemen, in this pile of scrap, there's high carbon steel, there's mild steel. Your challenge is to choose steel from which to make a signature blade in your signature style between 8 and 10 inches in length. Good luck, Bladesmiths. Your 3 hours starts now.
The spraying is a blessing and a curse because, yeah, it's great steel and I'm confident it will make a good knife, but it's also a really awkward, humongous shape.
I started out coal forging. I love it.
Biggest thing with coal is you got to keep your fire alive. Always keep it clean. It's all maintenance all the time.
I attached this handle on purpose because with the coal forge, it's easy to melt stuff. Now I got to hold it. I've got to be paying attention to it, and that's gonna keep me from making any mistakes.
Within 15 minutes of hammering this thick bar of steel, I'm just wishing I could be using Big Blue.
It's looking good. I'm hammering it all out. I got a huge piece of steel. I'm like, nah, this is just, it's too much. I'm not gonna need it.
Fire's pretty hot. Just, you know, PSA. Ho ho! See, I should not talk.
I've burned the tip. I wish I could say that it burned when I was walking away and doing something else, but it burned while I was standing right there making jokes. So I have no one to blame but myself.
I just got done forging out my blade, and I realized all I've got is about 1.5 inches, maybe an inch left over for the tang. So I got to figure out what I need to do to work with that.
The tang looks very spindly.
Yeah, it's
compared to
a
the
bit of a
blade.
rat tail.
Yeah.
Once I start drawing out the tang, I noticed that it's going to be a hidden tang knife. A hidden tang is not ideal because it's going to be a little bit weaker than a full tang knife, but I can make it work.
Angel's finally getting some length, but he's re-sacrificed a lot of the width.
Yeah, there's just not much mass to it. I mean, I don't know if it's going to do real well at stabbing into a wheelbarrow. I don't know if it's going to do real well at chopping him either.
He's making a steak knife.
Yeah.
Done with forging. All I got to do, get this blade to the grinder, little hot, cool it down so I can handle this blade.
That blade is hot.
Oh, no, don't put that in water when you're done.
Oh! Not good.
Oh, boy.
5160 just doesn't like water, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah,
No.
All I got to do is grind the final shape, get it heat treated.
Once I've got the tang, the tip, and everything refined, I decided to go into my heat treat process.
Jonathan has taken a piece of angle iron and laid it over that bed of coals to create an oven.
Yeah. The thing about quenching in coal forges is that you have to make a different style of fire to heat the whole blade up to the temperature you want.
Jonathan has just went into the quench.
It skates across. I'm pleased.
My right arm is starting to feel the burn.
When we talk about coal forging, you gotta be moving and keeping your fire up the entire time.
You can see the fatigue.
Isaac just went into the quench.
Look at all that, whoa, fire.
Kid.
Unlike my oil at home, this stuff decides to go right in my face.
It's just getting late now for Angel. He's doing so much cleanup work without having a quenched blade.
Well, Justin must have heard you because his blade just went into the quench. He doesn't want to be in Angel's position.
No cracking, no warping. I'm exceptionally happy with this heat treat. I'm very confident that the skills I've learned from Theo are at least the same skills that he used to win. And even though I bring my own stubbornness to bladesmithing, he's put me in the correct direction.
Yeah, we skate.
Angel just quenched.
Skates right across it, and I'm just sitting here just, thank you so much.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bladesmiths, shut down your machines, drop your tools. This first round of competition is over.
With all else being equal, I do think that the smaller tang could be an issue that could send me home. It's in the judges' hands. We'll see what they say.
Bladesmiths, that was a great first round of coal forging outdoors. Now it's time for the judges to take a closer look at your work. Justin, you're up first. Please present your blade to the judges.
Right now, the blade looks good. I don't see any issues, but your handle fits perfectly in my hand, almost too perfect. When you're gonna add on scales to this, it makes it even bigger. So try to maintain the comfort it feels on the handle.
Isaac, you're up next. Please present your blade to the judges.
I like the shape of this knife. You did a great job moving the metal, but there are a couple small issues. There's some hammer marks on the side here, and the tip kind of wonks over to one side. So it'd be nice to see what you can do on a grinder to make it more pretty. Nice job.
Thank you.
All right, Master Sergeant, you may present your blade to the judges.
As an end user, it looks good with the way the form of the blade is. But what comes into question is this handle. It's a hidden tang, so how you offset this is really gonna come into question. But overall, sir, good job.
Thank you.
All right, Angel, you're up. Please present your blade to the judges.
When you started out, you had a blade that was 1.5 inches wide, but only about 4 inches long. And as you drew that out further and further, it got leaner and leaner. But my main concern is while this blade was hot, you stuck it in the water. And that 5160 doesn't like water very much. It tends to make it extremely brittle. There are some visible surface cracks on here. And we see those cracks in the metal. It starts to make some questions.
All right, Bladesmiths, the judges' deliberation is complete. They've made their final decision. The bladesmith leaving the forge is Angel. Your blade didn't make the cut.
Angel, it doesn't get much tougher than a first round here when you're forging outside with a coal forge, and you did a great job. But with those visual cracks, and in comparison to the others, this is the leanest blade. We just don't know how it's going to test, and that's why we're letting you go.
All right.
Angel, please surrender your blade.
Really happy with the kind of work I was doing, just not happy with the end result, really. I don't think it showcased my skills all that well, but I still feel like a winner, you know? Came here, did the challenge, and had this once-in-a-lifetime kind of chance.
Bladesmiths, congratulations. You've made it to the final round of this competition. Now it's time to send you back to your home forges to recreate this iconic weapon from history. The Boar sword. Good luck. We'll see you in 4 days.
Good job, man. So it's day one, excited to get to work on this boar sword, ready to knock it out. I've never made anything this big. It's gonna be an interesting build. Swinging this 4-pound sledge is getting heavy already. My game plan for today is to get at least half of the sword forged out. I wanna get those curves established. It's definitely interesting hammering those waves in there because the blade will want to walk sideways. And so having to bring it back to establish that edge-to-edge straightness, it's difficult. I was hoping to be able to get a little bit farther along than what I did, but I think it's going pretty well.
Bit of a geometry dilemma here in that I'm hitting the ceiling before I can hit the blade on the grinder. So I'm gonna have to either take some extra wood out here, make a cutout here. I can't underestimate the size of this blade. I gotta be really careful while I'm trying to grind it in my tiny little shop. Perfect. So after cutting away a bit of the table and a bit of the roof, it seems to be working now. So just finished forging up the crossbar, so it's time to quench. If this goes well, I'll be set up really well for the rest of this competition. If it goes poorly, the opposite. This crossbar is making it a lot more difficult than I was anticipating to get this whole blade hot. Fortunately, it should be okay still. Here we go. That's the sound I wanted to hear.
Today I hope to accomplish the heat treat. This is the biggest thing I've ever heat treated. I've got a forge that I'm borrowing from a buddy of mine. It's a 5-burner forge, and it's normally laid down, you know, laying perpendicular. I've got it standing up, and so this is the first time I've used it in this fashion. I hope it works for me. I'm gonna take my forge and set up underneath. That way I get a normal heat treat all the way from the blade tip to the tang. This heat treat process is the most critical part. If you don't have the heat treat process down right, then all you have is a blade-shaped object. You know, it's not gonna stay sharp. So I gotta get this heat treat done. It has to happen today. It's go time. If it doesn't go right, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I do have a slight warp. We're good. I'm out of the woods, but still have some work to do.
So I was tempering last night with a torch and screwed the pooch a little bit and got way too hot on my blade. So I've lost a lot of hardness and I'm gonna have to re-quench. Never done a torch tempering before, and I guess that's what I get for my lack of experience. A second quench is just additional risk. Every time you quench, there's a risk of extra warping, of a crack, a broken blade. It is quite a setback. If this quench fails, I may be forced to start over from scratch. Here we go. It's definitely hard. Disaster averted for now, so long as I can get the tempering right on my second try. This time around, I'm gonna be really slow, really careful, and I've got my heat gun right here pointing at this blade the whole time. If it goes above 350 degrees, I'm gonna immediately pull the torch and make sure that I don't over-temper this blade again. The deed is done. This should be a strong, hard blade now. I'm gonna move forward, put a handle on this, polish it up, and turn it into the judges.
It's the start of the last day. It's raining like a cow pissing on a flat rock outside, so we're working on the handle and the pommel, and just a little bit of cleanup and sharpening, and we're done. Now I'm gonna go into shaping. That feels good and balanced right there. The farther along I got in this build, the more confident I became in the weapon. I didn't have enough time to test it, but I'm confident that it'll pass. Ladies and gentlemen, the Boar sword.
All right, Bladesmiths, to test the lethality of your boar swords, I will deliver thrusts and cuts on this boar carcass. John, you're first. You ready for this?
Absolutely.
All right, John. First up, I like the balance. I like that I can put two hands in it. It's ovoid enough to where I can hold on and I can tell where the edge is. And when we're pushing and thrusting as it's meant to be, the tip is sharp enough to thrust all the way through. Your edges, as you can see, are sharp enough to cut pieces out of this boar carcass. Overall, sir, it'll kill.
Thanks, sir.
Congrats.
Thanks, man.
All right, Isaac, your turn. Are you ready for this?
Let's make some bacon.
All right, Isaac. First up, it's much lighter. So it's easier to control when you're moving with the blade. And as you can see, when I was thrusting in there, the point you have here, the edges are very sharp. It thrusts all the way in. And even when it hits bone, it's got a very good flex to it. Did not pick up a bend. Overall, sir, your boar sword will make bacon and kill.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, it's time for the strength test, the sheet metal stab. Now, to test the strength and overall construction of your blades, I'll be stabbing into the sheet metal. But this test is not about what your blades do to that target. It's about what that target does to your blades. Jonathan, you're here first. You ready?
Absolutely.
All right, Jonathan, your blade is still sharp pretty much all the way to the tip. Now, the tip did get flattened a little bit, but that was a very, very acute tip that you had on there. All in all, it's a comfortable weapon. It's certainly held up beautifully. Nicely done.
Thank you.
All right, Isaac, you ready for this?
As ready as I'm gonna be. There's definitely a significant bend.
All right, there's a good flex in your blade, which we saw in an earlier test. But when you quenched this blade, I'm assuming right in here somewhere was where that quench stopped. So this is not really solid right here. You did lose your tip up here, but your edges held up. It's still sharp, but you can just see there's an obvious issue with that bend there.
All right, Bladesmiths, this is the sharpness test. To find out if there's any sharpness left on your tip and edges, I will take your weapon and stab and slash at this deer hide. Now, unlike the strength test, this is all about what your blade will do to this deer hide. John, you're first. You ready for this?
Let's do it.
All right, John. Looking at the tip here, I can see where it flattened out. It took a little bit of effort to be able to puncture through, but it did. Your edges are still sharp. The cuts are clean. Overall, sir, you'll have a cut.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Isaac, your turn, sir. You ready?
I am. That's about what I expected.
I straightened it.
Oh, did you?
The damage to your tip on the strength test really took it out. There is no tip to this anymore. I can put my finger on that. But the edge of your blade on both sides, as you can see, cut all the way through. Now, the interesting thing to note is that all that bending actually straightened your blade. Overall, sir, you'll have a cut.
Thank you.
Bladesmiths, the judges have deliberated right here on the forge floor. They've made their final decision. Isaac, your blade didn't make the cut. Your blade took a bend in the strength test. And for that reason, I have to ask you to please leave the forge.
The end-all be-all of this test was the fact that I couldn't get a full heat treat all the way up and down my blade, and that's what sent me home. I made it to second place, and regardless of the results of this whole thing, it's been the best birthday present I've ever gotten.
Well, Jonathan, it would appear that warrior ethos runs deep in you because not only are you an active duty Marine, you are also the Forged in Fire champion. That's a title that comes with a check for $10,000. Congratulations.
Thank you. Being Forged in Fire champion, it feels great.
Good job, brother.
Thank you. It's a boost of confidence. It's not the big things that really matter. It's the little things, the attention to detail that make a big difference.
Bladesmiths, welcome to the Forge. Gentlemen, here in the Forge, we sometimes like to pay homage to one of our judges. So today, in your first round of competition, in an homage to Doug Marcaida, you'll be making one of these. Actually, two of these karambits. Doug Marcaida is a specialist in Filipino martial arts, and the karambit is one of the tools of his trade. You will be forging your karambits at a 1095 steel. They must be a match set, have all integral construction, drifted finger holes, and the blades must be between 3.5 and 4 inches in length. You'll have 3 hours in which to complete your work. Good luck, Bladesmiths. Your 3 hour starts now.
Here we go. See what we can do with this.
It's two karambits, two blades I've never made before. My mind is running 1,000,000 miles an hour.
The steel we are given for these knives is a massive block of 1095. Cutting the steel is going to take too long. I need to work it a bit, get it more manageable, and cut a piece that I need from that.
I choose to chop my steel in half just because of the parameters of two blades. I felt like if I could get two pieces in the forge at once, then I'm able to do it in a quicker fashion. I'm the only one that cut my piece in half to have two pieces right off the bat. We'll see how it works out.
I've got to think about the handle. It's integral, meaning that is way thicker than what I'm normally used to in a knife because I'm normally attaching 2 scales on the outside. I'm looking for, you know, 2 9-inch sections of steel and make it plenty thick.
I forge the tip first. It's just kind of the way that I've always forged blades, and I'm comfortable with that. I started to forge it out, and I'm thinking, I'm gonna make it my style. I'm gonna give it a bigger belly on the blade. So it's not gonna match exactly what the judges put up there, but it should function very well in a chopping competition.
For these blades, I'm gonna start with the tip and work my way back, let things fall into place.
Ah! Anytime you make 2 of anything, it gets 4 times as hard.
I realized I've got too much metal. Should have just drawn the first piece out all the way and made both knives out of it. I'm gonna cut the ends of them off, get rid of the handles, and go to it.
Bladesmiths, you have 1 hour remaining to finish your work.
Will screaming the time sends chills down my spine.
I've made a few karambits. Usually I took a shortcut and started with a wrench that already had a hole for the finger, so this was an added level of difficulty having to drift one myself.
There's 30 minutes left, and I know I have to quench. Everything's riding on this quench, so I gotta get it right.
So Doug just quenched one of his karambits.
No warpage at all, I'm thrilled. Second knife, no warpage. I've got quenched hardened blades, my holes are there.
Doug is really killing it right now. He's kind of out ahead of the crowd, I'd say.
Oh, way ahead.
Oh, I agree.
15 minutes!
I know the heat treat's not something that I can skimp on. If you don't have a good heat treat, it's basically a letter opener. First one, skates beautifully. Now I've got to go and do the exact same thing again. So I've got 2 hardened straight blades. I've got a few minutes to kill. You know, I don't want to mess with the blade until it's been tempered.
5 minutes, Bladesmiths!
At this point, both blades are hardened. They're on the anvil. It's not a typical karambit. It's kind of my take on a karambit, so it's a unique look to it. So I think they might like that.
I go in for my quench, all's quiet. I'm not feeling any weird pops or tings in the steel. Set it down to cool, and I'm on to my next karambit. As soon as I've got my blades quenched and cooled down to handle, it's back to the grinder. I need to get it looking like a knife, not like an oily mess.
10 seconds!
That one's good. This one I got like a little carried away with.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bladesmiths, shut down your machines, drop your tools. This first round of karambit competition is over.
That was a good one.
Don't be whooping yet.
My blades are done.
Woo! Bladesmiths, this first round of competition is complete. Now it's time for the judges to take a closer look at your karambits. You had to have a match pair with drifted finger rings, integral handles, and 3 to 4.5-inch karambit blades. Ashley, you're up first. Please present your blades to the judges.
Right, Ashley. So one of them is on its way to being the right way a karambit should be held. It's comfortable when you grab onto it. You can tell where the edge is, and it's got that curve, that hook that we're looking for. In this blade, it's pretty much straight up. And look what happens to my hand. See how this pulls up? It pushes my finger away. That puts a lot of stress on my whole hand. If you move forward, there are ways of either curving this inward or pulling it back so that it gets comfortable to where I can just grab on and then align my hands back in again. The key about having these blades is, can you make a natural fist? Think about like if you're a boxer. These are just extensions of what you have in your hand.
All right, Doug, you're up. Please present your karambits to the judges.
The first thing that strikes me when I pick these up is the length of the handle. I've got 2 inches of extra handle here on both of them equally, you know, because you did a very good job of making a match set.
Yes.
And the other thing is this ring is directly in line with the center, and you can see what that does to me trying to hold this thing, but you're well on your way. Nice job.
Thank you.
All right, Cody, you ready for this?
Believe so.
Please present your blades to the judges.
Right off, these things are way done.
Yeah, they're beefcakes.
The finger alignment on that one's real close. Not so much on this one. So There's a lot of material to remove on these as well as to get that shape refined. But I think you're well on your way.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Chad, you're up. Please present your work to the judges.
Right, Chad. We're looking for the inward curve of the blade to signify and give that essence of a karambit to be something that's a claw that can hook into you, that can dig in when you're fighting with that. I do not see that here. You have the handle for that. What I see is almost like a skinner with a ring. That's not what we're looking for.
All right, Chad, obviously there's a big problem. We asked for a karambit. That's not what we're looking at here. So at this time, I have to ask you to please leave the forge.
What I turned in was my interpretation of a karambit. Thank you, sir. If I had it to do over again, I would have paid more attention to the actual blade style, and it was an easy correction I could have made. I feel that I actually have the ability to continue on this path. I'm going to continue to grow. And the judges said I made a great skinner for what it's worth.
Doug, Ashley, congratulations. Your karambits have landed you guys into the final round of this competition. Good job. Now we're sending you back to your home forges to make one of these. The cane sword. Good luck, Bladesmiths. We'll see you in 4 days.
It's day one. I'm back in my shop in Columbus, Ohio, and I'm gonna start working on a rough blade shape. This is gonna be a very thin, very light blade. I don't wanna have excess material that's gonna come back to bite me. I'm gonna start with exactly what I need and work from there. I can't draw it out too thin. I'll end up with weird little weak spots in the middle, and that's catastrophic for a blade. Just clean it off a little bit. Some pretty gnarly scale on it. I'm checking and then I'm grinding. I don't want to take away any more than I need to. A little bit more work in the forge tomorrow, a little bit more work on the grinder, and then I'll be good for quench.
I'm gonna do a little fireball action here to kick this project off. I'm a trained professional. Do not do this at home, ever. 3, 2, 1. Fireball. Let's get this party started. Feels good to be home in my home shop. I'm gonna take this piece of 5160 and get it in the fire and get it heated and get it drawn out. A little nervous about it because I only have one piece of this 5160, so it's kind of crucial that I don't screw it up. I'm a Damascus guy. So I'm gonna use the Damascus for the pommel and for the burl. There's no way this piece is getting out of here without some Damascus on it.
Starting off day two, I've got to do a little bit more touch-up work, and then I should be ready for a quench. All I'm really working on is straightening out any wiggles. I've still got a couple. I'll just hit and check, back and forth. Things aren't really truing up like I'd like, so I decide I need to just go into the quench now. I don't feel any tings. Comes out of the quench, and there is definitely a warp. I feel like I can re-quench it maybe once. I've got to go in for a second quench. Am I going to scrap this blade? Am I going to start over, or is this going to work? I come out of the quench, skate a file down it. There's a couple spots towards the handle that are a little softer, but I think we're good to keep moving along. I feel like I could finally a little bit start to breathe.
I would have liked to have gotten a little further yesterday, but my quench was very successful. Daddy likey, woo! And so it's mechanism day. The cane sword is gonna require a locking mechanism, so the sword will lock properly in the cane itself. I'm not really tooled up to do stuff like this. This locking mechanism really is a tricky bastard. The brass hook slides into the bolster, which latches it and locks the sword into the cane itself. And that has to hinge because there has to be a spring underneath it that will allow the button to compress down to where it releases the lock, and then the spring will push the hook back up to lock into place in the bolster. Yeah, I got a latch. All I have to do is attach my button to it and tap this in, and I'm on my way.
I've never made a cane before, so today I want to spend a whole day dedicated to it. I want to make sure that this cane is structurally solid in case they're going to beat on it. So my cane is going to be a framed construction. This bit will be in the middle, of 2 other slabs, kind of like this one, and it'll all be pinned together, as well as a fair bit of epoxy. Beautiful. I'm taking my cane down from being a box to being a hexagonal shape. It's starting to really look like something other than a block of wood. So I've done the texturing on my cane. It's very similar to the flint nap that we did in the round 2 on the handles of our karambits. All that's left is I want to pop a little linseed oil on all the wood parts, and I mean, I'm done.
Last day. First thing I have to do is make a cane. It's a little wobbly and rough, but I think it gives it character. We're gonna sand it down really smooth and then oil it. It'll be great. This is my Damascus billet for the pommel. It's carbon steel, so carbon steel doesn't like this. The Damascus pommel has to be tapped so it'll screw on the bolt that I've welded into the tang of the sword. If I break the tap off in here, that's it. Oh God, wish I had another tap. There it is. Sure enough, it breaks. Damn it. Failure's not an option, so I'm gonna go to my plan B, which is building one out of a piece of rosewood. It bums me out because the rosewood pommel isn't as pretty as the Damascus one, but I'm just gonna have to settle with the rosewood. It's gonna be a good weapon. There we go. Button's working. It'll definitely hurt somebody. And if you got a bad leg, it'll hold you up.
Doug, Ashley, welcome back and welcome to the frozen great outdoors. You guys have had 4 days at your home forges to work on your cane swords. Doug, how did it go?
It proved to be a difficult build for me. I built the blade out of 5160. It's a black walnut cane and handle with a rosewood pommel. The bolsters are Damascus. It was tough.
All right, Ashley, how'd it go for you?
I kept mine pretty straightforward. I did a 5160 blade, brass pins here and there, and a copper connector to a black and white ebony, little stop at the bottom.
All right, Bladesmiths, your weapons will now be put through a series of 3 tests: a strength test, a sharpness test, and up first, the kill test. Doug?
All right, Bladesmiths, welcome to the kill test. The cane sword. What an elegant way to walk around with a concealed weapon. To find out what kind of lethal damage your weapon will do, I will take your cane sword and deliver killing slashes and blows on this ballistics dummy. Doug, you're up first. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do this.
All right. I'm really nervous about today's testing. Anything could go wrong. I'm hoping to do as much damage to the mannequin as possible, but you know, no matter what, I don't want anything to break. Are you kidding me? All right.
All right, Doug, let's talk about your cane sword. You have a very sharp edge. This blade thrusts nicely, it cuts nicely, and who knew such a very slim blade could do that much damage? What I love about your handle right here is that curved part right there. It gives me that flair that I like to feel when I'm thrusting or slashing and moving a weapon around. Your weapon, sir, will kill.
Thank you very much.
All right, Ashley, it's your turn. Are you ready, sir?
Absolutely.
Let's do this.
Tough act to follow. This is the kill test, and a cane sword has to kill. If it doesn't, this is the end of the line. Oh! There it was.
Bro, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
All right, Ashley, let's talk about your cane sword here. The cross-section shows here that it is kind of coarse, so it could be a heat tempering issue. But worse than that, some of the grinds here are uneven, and this was its thinnest spot. So as you can see, it's a critical failure.
Well, Ashley, when we have a tough break on this show, it's literal. You suffered catastrophic failure and cannot continue in this competition. And for that reason, I'd like to invite you to please leave the range.
It's heartbreaking, but I am incredibly proud of the work that I've done. When I get home, the first thing I'm gonna do is make another cane sword. I gotta do it right, at least once. So yes, lovely.
Doug, congratulations. You are the new Forged and Fire champion, and that's a title that comes with a check for $10,000. How you feel right now?
$10,000 richer.
All right, come on over here and shake our hands, brother.
I did it. I did it.
Good job, Doug.
It's awesome. This has been one of the best experiences of my life. It took me every emotion possible, anger, joy, to just absolute crying. For anybody out there that wants to do this, my suggestion to you is show up with your A game and get a lot of sleep before you come, because you're not gonna get any until it's over.